Chapter 14 Agent Nebraska. After the White House staff had served the President his coffee, President Jackson had called in Agent Nebraska for her assignment. When she had entered the President's office in her uniform and took a seat with her 9mm pistol on her hip, President Jackson then shook her hand as he said to her, "Good morning, Agent Nebraska. I assume your recovery went well following your last sortie?" Nebraska then patted down the fur on her tanuki ears and fluffed her tail as she answered, "As a matter of fact, I have. So, why is it you have called me to your office?" "First, I wanted to congratulate you on your work-gathering intelligence that has led to the thwarting of Solstera's threat of interstellar ballistic missiles. As such, your work has kept this war with Solstera from going nuclear. However, there's a new mission I have regarding you as suggested by the Department of Defense, and there was no better agent listed for the job than you." "So, what does he want me to do? Kill somebody? Steal something?" "No. But at the end of your mission, killing someone very evil is optional. It will be up to your discretion whether or not King Azrael of the Void Kingdom dies. But I very much discourage you from killing Azrael if unnecessary, as it will likely unify that kingdom and solidify their noble house's rule over that hemisphere of Celestia. It seems that after this war is over, Solstera will be too weak to maintain peace on that planet, which will be a problem going forward as the Void Kingdom is likely to fill that power vacuum. This puts our alliance with the Lunar Queendom in jeopardy as the Void Kingdom has become increasingly aggressive towards our ally and trading partner in that region of Celestia. However, thanks to the intelligence gathered by Agent 307 Wyoming, we have a 30-round magazine full of silver bullets up our sleeves. Tell me, have you heard of a person named Princess Titania of the Void Kingdom?" "I have not. What about her?" "If what Wyoming has gathered about her is correct, she will be the next ruler of the Void Kingdom, and if we can get her on our side and do America's bidding, the Void Kingdom's destabilizing threat to our allies and trading partners will be no more. Besides, what are monarchies anyway other than easy-to-manipulate means to a positive end under our influence? Especially a young and naive princess like Titania, who is still somewhat impressionable." "I see where you're coming from. Where do I come in all this?" The President then hands Agent Nebraska Wyoming's dossier on Titania and tells Nebraska in a more serious tone, "Given the secrecy of your mission, only top officials will be notified. But your mission remains the same. You are to hijack Titania's return to the Void Kingdom, and along the way and make her to conform to our values, and make her become one of us so that when she returns to rule her future kingdom, she will be doing our work for us, which will mitigate almost all potential conflicts we might have with the Void Kingdom in the future. My only advice is you keep things clean and try not to make too much noise. We have the Space Force to do that with orbital bombardment, and we don't want Titania getting suspicious and turn against us where we might actually have to use it. It'd be a shame to have such a young girl be traumatized with the sight of her entire kingdom being destroyed right before her eyes in the span of half an hour." "I'd say that's a punishment I wouldn't even want my worst enemy to have to go through, even if this Titania is part of the royal scum of the earth." "Well, even if she is royal scum, she's still an essential asset to your mission, and someone you can't complete your mission without. So, you may as well get used to sitting next to a princess." "Then, if it's for the good of this country that I have pledged my life to, I'll do it." "Then I wish you Godspeed, Nebraska. And one last thing. Be sure to grab a muffin from the White House, chef. Those things are delicious." Agent Nebraska then salutes President Jackson as she answered, "Yes, sir, Mr. President," before grabbing a handful of warm muffins and preparing for her mission. As Abigail was lecturing Titania on leadership, Titania was sipping a cold glass of iced tea. But rather than continue to lecture Titania, Abigail took Titania to the diplomat's parlor where King Oberon in the Fae Kingdom was having a conversation with the ambassador of the United States and the Elven King regarding their disagreements. But before Titania could watch a diplomatic meeting, the meeting had already ended with the disagreements being resolved. Meanwhile, aboard a U.S. Space Force transport, Agent Nebraska had fully equipped herself for her mission with a blaster and Colt 1911 on her hip in a civilian disguise and issued ID with the name Natalia Whitetail. Before Titania could personally meet the ambassador to the United States and the Elven King and Oberon, the ambassador received a phone call from the president saying, "Mr. Ambassador, I'd hate to bother you at the moment, but there's something I need to notify you about. One of our operatives will be joining you during your meeting as part of her assignment with regard to the fairy girl that is currently residing in Queen Abigail's palace. The operator's name is Agent Nebraska, and she will be arriving shortly. Further details are classified for national security reasons, for as much as I try to be transparent. And if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask." The ambassador then asks the president, "One thing I'd like to ask is what she looks like and why I need her with me and not just the regular security details." "Like I said before, it has to do with that fairy girl that looks like Mrs. Abigail, but with feathered wings and is a bit younger. I heard she's likely a princess from another kingdom, and if she's here out of all places instead of her own kingdom by herself, it's likely she has been exiled and there is bound to be very bad people after her, simply due to her status as a princess. That's why I'm sending Natalia, who is one of our best operatives for these kinds of scenarios, to make sure nothing bad happens to her. When you see her, she has long brown hair with light brown tanuki ears and tail and is about 5 feet and 7 inches tall. Is there anything else you'd like to ask?" "If secrecy is necessary for the security reasons, then I don't have any further questions other than I'll be waiting for her arrival. Goodbye, Mr. President." As the ambassador is returning to the diplomat's parlor, Agent Nebraska had joined him as Queen Abigail introduced Titania to the ambassador as Nebraska had introduced herself, saying, "It's nice to meet you, Titania. I'm Natalia Whitetail, and for the time being I have been ordered to protect you from harm's way on your return to your kingdom, by the President himself. I look forward to working with you as your personal bodyguard and escort." Then as Titania readily accepted Agent Nebraska as her protector, Philomena had an uneasy feeling in her soul, thinking to herself, "Something doesn't seem right about this Natalia lady," before saying, "Then I'll be joining you too, Titania, on your return along with your friends Agua and Sylvia and Tatsu." While Agent Nebraska kept cool and collected while not expecting Titania to already have company. But nonetheless, Titania trusted Agent Nebraska, saying, "Both of you are welcome. I'm grateful for your kindness and generosity when you didn't have to. And thank you, Abigail, your majesty, for everything you've done for me and my friends this past week. I hope we can see each other again someday after returning to my kingdom." Agent Nebraska then thought to herself, "Wow, trusting me already? That was quick. But that cute Amorian, though, with her heart sense. I better keep one tanuki eye on her at all times, while I'm trying not to blow my cover and get some sleep."